It is a critical moment for President Obama's trade agenda. The Republican-controlled Congress moving closer to granting the president fast-track trade authority, which would make it easier for him to cut trade deals with the Pacific Rim and Europe. The lawmaker leading the charge in the House, one-time rival and frequent critic, House Ways and Means Chairman Paul Ryan, well, he is standing by on the Hill with our chief Washington correspondent, Peter Cook. Peter?
Betty, thanks very much. I am joined by Chairman Ryan, who's done a lot of battle with President Obama over the years, but on this issue, trade, you all are effectively shoulder to shoulder?
Yeah, that's right. We agree. I think he's going in the right direction with these trade agreement negotiations with Asia and Europe. We just rolled out Trade Promotion Authority, which is a bipartisan bill we're moving through the House and the Senate committees this week. We think it's absolutely essential and necessary to get good trade agreements. That's why we're doing this.
All right. What's your message to Republicans on fast-track authority, particularly this legislation that you all have battled the president again about taking presidential power, that in some way you're ceding ground to this president? Because I've heard that complaint from some
Right, so to the contrary, that's why we wrote this version of Trade Promotion Authority. If you take a look at the editorial I have with Ted Cruz in the Wall Street Journal today, we spell out very clearly. We are basically making sure that Congress asserts itself and its jurisdiction and its prerogatives early on in the process. So what this Trade Promotion Authority basically says is to the administration, here are all the negotiating objectives you have to meet. Here are the transparency requirements. The public has to be able to see this trade agreement as well before it's considered. And then if you don't meet these requirements, then Congress can turn it off if we choose to do so. And at the end of the day, because of the Constitution, it's very clear, Congress has the final say on these things. So this is not the traditional Trade Promotion Authority. This asserts Congress's jurisdiction, gets Congress involved early on in the process so that we can have a better outcome. There's nothing stopping a president from going out and negotiating a trade agreement, just plopping it on Congress's desk. But we won't get a good trade agreement if you do that. And by offering this up or down vote with this transparent process, with congressional negotiating objectives at the front end of this, we think we'll get a better outcome. And we think we'll get a better outcome from our trade partners as well.
Are you going to get support from Republicans in the House and Democrats? What's the vote? You going to pass this in the House without any doubt?
Yeah, no, I think we'll pass this as well, but it will be bipartisan, and the president clearly has to deliver votes from his party.
How many Democrats?
I don't know the answer to that.
50?
It's the House. Things move around quite a bit, but I don't think the House Democrats are going to let the president fail on one of his signature achievements and goals for his presidency. Look. Here's the deal on trade. If you're standing still and not getting agreements, you're actually falling behind because all these other countries are going around the world getting better trade agreements for their workers, for their manufacturers. So we've got to get in this game. You know, when you add up all the countries we have trade agreements with, we have a surplus. When you add up the countries we don't have trade agreements with, we have a deficit. So this is about leveling the playing field. This is about making things fairer for American workers and job creators. And that's why it's essential, and that's why it's bipartisan, to get a good trade agreement.
It's not just Democrats with concerns. There are a lot of Americans out there who see NAFTA and they don't feel at the end of the day it was in the best interest of American workers. What's your message to a factory worker in your home state of Wisconsin who's worried that, for example, the Trans-Pacific they could lose their job?
Well, I did town hall meetings on this last week. This trade agreement with this Trade Promotion Authority, and these trade agreements are about raising the standards, bringing other countries to American standards, not lowering our standards to other countries.
But you can't guarantee them that they're not going to lose their job?
You can't, in Congress, guarantee how the economy is going to work. But we can guarantee that it's going to work better if we open up markets to our products, if we bring standards up to American standards. Here's the deal on the global economy today. We are in the 21st century. We are in a global economy. And the rules are being written on this global economy today. So the question is, who's going to write the rules? Is it going to be China, or is it going to be America and our allies? And I would argue very strongly, if we don't get engaged and if we don't get involved and write the rules of the global economy, they're going to be written by China, and that's not going to be in the interest of the American worker. And so that's why this is important to get this done.
And you're confident these deals will raise American wages? Because, of course, that's been great
debate
because
on Republicans and
Democrats how to do that.
1 in 5 jobs in America is tied to trade. And trade jobs, on average, pay 16% higher than other jobs. So it's very, very important in this global economy that we get better jobs for our workers, that we level the playing field, open up new customers. And here's the other deal. If a multinational company wants to sell into a foreign market, in many cases, because of trade barriers, they have to manufacture in that market in order to sell in that market. With a trade agreement, by lowering those barriers, you can keep your manufacturing at home in Wisconsin, in America, and send your products overseas. That's why we need trade agreements. That's why we're trying to do this, so that we can keep good jobs in America and get higher wages because trade-based jobs typically pay more, and 1 in 5 jobs in America is already tied to trade.
There's some Democrats that say they might be on board this trade promotion authority and these trade deals if there was language in here dealing with the currency issue, going after China, other countries for manipulating their currency.
There is language on currency in this.
Enforceable language?
Well, I think the enforceable language steps over a line where you'll actually kill trade agreements, because you will not get a trade agreement if a country thinks that we can just have retaliatory tariffs because of the domestic monetary policy. And by the way, that could come back to haunt us too.
So that
as the world's reserve currency, I don't think that. I think it'd be a mistake. And I think the Treasury Secretary has helped us figure out the right kind of balance and the right kind of language to raise this very legitimate issue, but not raise it in such a way that it blows up in our face, comes back to haunt us, or kills any chance of getting trade agreements.
Would it help your effort if Hillary Clinton came out in favor of this?
I want everybody to come out in favor of this. I want anybody who cares about more jobs, higher wages, getting America to lead in the global economy to be in favor of this, because that's what this is all about.
You've given the president pretty high marks for his effort in engaging on this. Could this translate into cooperation on other fronts? You also are the point man, of course, for taxes. Could we see more cooperation on
We're
tax
working
reform?
on tax reform issues. We're working on trying to figure out how to rewrite the rules.
Are you making any progress with this?
We're still early on in that right now. We're still doing a lot of our own research here in the House about tax policy. Right now, we're working on trade. This is something we agree on. It's bipartisan. We don't often agree on things. So I think in this case, when you have Republicans and Democrats agreeing that this is the right thing for the American worker, for job creators, I think that's pretty good, and I think we should move on it.
Fast track authority in the president's hand by the time Prime Minister Abe gets here later on this month?
Oh, I don't. That's a little aggressive. He comes next week, I think. So
28.
Yeah, we're doing this. That's a little too fast. We're marking up the bill in Ways and Means tomorrow. The Senate Finance Committee is marking it up today. The Senate can't move that fast.
I got to sneak in a 2016 question on you. I know you're not picking anyone because you're in a position with the party that you can't do that. But you look at the race right now, 20 people or so, 18, 19 candidates. Any regrets that you didn't jump in there?
No, I don't actually. No, they're very high quality candidates, high caliber people running for president. I don't have regrets. Look, I thought because of my opportunity as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee and with a young family, I can make a huge difference for the country. I can make a big difference for the people I represent, and I can be home on weekends. And so for me, it's the right thing for my family, for my decision, and we have good quality people running for president. That makes me satisfied.
Gives you more of a chance to see more Brewer games and Packer games as well.
That's right.
All right, Chairman Ryan, thanks very much for joining us here on Bloomberg.